Alien rulers of ancient Egypt. The hieroglyphs from the Temple of Sethi in Abydos and the Tulli Papyrus suggest just that. Due to annual floods in high alluvial soil, the valley of the Nile was the cradle of one of the oldest civilizations in the world. The two Egyptian kingdoms, the Upper Kingdom in the south and the Lower Kingdom in the north, were rival, being united by Menes, Narmer, around 3050 BC. Egypt and the gift of the Nile. The Abydos town was one of the most sacred places in ancient Egypt. It's located about 483 kilometers south of Cairo and 15 kilometers from the Nile. And it says that Osiris was buried there, one of the gods of Egypt. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris is the god of the later life, the world beyond, and the dead. Osiris was the legendary king of Egypt, famous for the vigor and justice with which he governed the country. In 1948, an archaeological expedition discovered a queer queue of hieroglyphs in Abydos. Hieroglyphs were carefully copied and brought to Europe, where heated debates were created because of mysterious images. Nobody could certainly explain the drawings and were considered to be bizarre objects. The technology development allowed tourists to enter the temple, and the first images appeared in the 1990s. The internet has distributed images all over the world, and today we can see photos of the ancient, famous helicopter of the Abydos hieroglyphs. But it's not just a helicopter, we also see UFOs, we also see aeroplanes and other craft that we don't have today. Hieroglyphs seem to accurately describe submarine patterns and an ancient helicopter. It is possible that one of the drawings is also an airplane, as we said before, and the helicopter has a propeller, the cockpit, and it looks very good with modern combat helicopters. And then you have the mystery of the Tulli Papyrus. And as we can see here, this is the Tulli Papyrus. The Tulli Papyrus was discovered in Egypt, and it tells a fantastic story that changes our perspective on the past, present, and even the future. The ancient document was discovered in 1934 in an antique store by Alberto Tulli, the former director of the Vatican's Egyptian Museum. It's unlikely that at that time people would have been familiar with alien stories, even more likely to invent such a story. At first glance, this story seems to be detached from a film scenario, but things are as real as the Tulli Papyrus has been studied and researched by many archaeologists who have confirmed its authenticity. On the other hand, there is a group of specialists who think that everything is fake and nothing more. The Tulli Papyrus speaks of a series of visions of the mysterious objects observed by Pharaoh Thutmose. And this is really shocking, astonishing, and revealing. The Tulli Papyrus, enigmatic text, first described a written account of UFO sightings. This Egyptian text records an event which supposedly occurred during the 18th dynasty, that's about 1500 BC, so that's about 3,500 years ago. The real question about the Tulli Papyrus is, could this be proof of alien existence? Ancient Egypt is also known for many things, such as its incredibly rich and ancient culture, its marvelous civilization, but also for its very mysterious deities and some of the most peculiar tales of the ancient world. One such strange and little-known story is of the ancient Egyptian document of the Tulli Papyrus. Rather than being a typical Egyptian papyrus, it was a text that describes in great detail a huge UFO sighting that supposedly occurred in ancient Egypt during the reign of Thutmose III. The text was forgotten for centuries before it would go viral, as we said, in the 1930s, during a visit to Cairo of Alberto Tulli in 1933. And this is an example of what it says. Even though the papyrus was severely damaged on several pages, a determined Prince Boris de Rasch-Wiltz managed to translate it and declared the papyrus was part of the Annals of Tutmosis III. There's an unfortunate detail in the story, though. Nothing in the ancient text refers to the pharaoh by name, a fact that makes things even more suspicious and complicated. Translations of the Tulli Papyrus. In the year 22, third month of winter, 6th hour of the day, the scribus of the House of Life found it was a circle of fire that was coming from the sky. Though it had no head, the breadth of its mouth had a foul odor. Its body 1 rod long, about 150 feet, and 1 rod large. It had no voice. Their hearts became confused through it, and they laid themselves on their bellies. That means they were frightened and they lay down on the floor. They went to the king to report it. His Majesty ordered has been examined as to allow all that to be written in the papyrus rolls of the House of Life of His Majesty. He was meditating upon what happened. Now after some days had passed over these things, lo, they were more numerous than anything. They were shining in the sky more than the sun, to the limits of the 4 supports of heaven. Powerful was the position of the fire circles. The army of the king looked on, and His Majesty was in the midst of it. It was after supper. Thereupon they, that is the fire circles, went up higher, directed to south. Fishes and volatiles fell down from the sky. It was a marvel never occurred since the foundation of the land. Caused His Majesty, here meaning Pharaoh, to be brought incense to pacify the hearth. What happened in the book of the House of Life to be remembered for eternity. Let's have another translation. After several days passed, they became more numerous in the sky than ever. They shined in the sky more than the brightness of the sun, and extended the limits of the 4 supports of heaven. Powerful was the position of the fiery discs. The army of the king looked on, with His Majesty in their midst. It was after the evening meal, when the discs ascended even higher in the sky to the south. Fish and other volatiles rained down from the sky, a marvel never before known since the foundation of the country. And His Majesty caused incense to be brought to appease the heart of Amun-Ra, the god of the 2 lands. And it was ordered that the event be recorded for His Majesty in the annals of the House of Life, to be remembered forever. Should we view the Tulli Papyrus as a credible source, as it derives from translations of the ancient texts? This supposed UFO sighting took place around 1480 BC, and it was witnessed by many people. It's pretty safe to assume that the ancient Egyptians would not have misinterpreted these fiery discs with their rare astronomical or weather phenomenon, since they were extremely advanced when it came to astronomy. Their expertise in astronomy and other sciences make many historians believe that Egyptians would have been capable to tell the difference between an astronomical phenomenon and a bizarre, unexplained incident like the one described in the text, that is, UFO. However, we shouldn't be carried away with any conclusions. We should keep in mind that the Tulli paper is not an authentic papyrus, but translated of a modern transcription of an alleged Egyptian document, the location of which is currently unknown. I'll leave links below for you for this on ancient origins and Disclosed TV.